What up, though, Detroit? We are back with another Detroit Culture Shifters. Your girl, Lyndsay B, having another conversation with an amazing young man who has been killing the game, and I'm definitely excited to talk to him because some people talk about investing in Detroit's future, but this man is actually building on it. From transforming vacant lots to community spaces, to creating pathways for young leaders, to creating a bookstore in his childhood neighborhood, we are talking to the man, Jejuan Howard. How are you doing this morning?
What up, though? I'm doing well.
I'm super excited to talk to you because, one, you were nominated by a couple of people, and then two, I've just been following your journey with Howard Bookstore. But before we get to Howard and all of the things that you are doing in 2026, tell me about who Jejuan is.
Born and raised here in the city of Detroit, on the west side, Puritan and Schaefer community. I do a couple of different things. I care about our youth. I care about my neighborhood that I come from. I care about the city. And so I try to let my actions reflect what I care about.
And I feel like with everything that you do, it encompasses education, empowerment, and community. Would you agree?
That's very, yeah.
With those being the pillars of what you do in your life, what was the first call to it? Because I feel like this is a calling for you. So what was that first moment where you were like, no, I think I found it. I think I found where I want to be.
I think it's chapters too. I think it's layered.
Right.
Back when I was in high school, I took a debate class, and it kind of changed what I wanted my career to be. In high school, I wanted to become a lawyer based on the Trayvon Martin case that had happened.
Oh, wow.
And so that was like the first, I guess, like seed that was planted. But then I got to college and things shifted a little bit. And then I wanted to buy back. I grew up right there on Puritan and Cheyenne, and my great-grandparents owned a house there. We lost the house during the whole tax foreclosure thing. The house got tore down, so it was just empty land. And this was, I want to say 2018, that I approached the city like, hey, I want to buy back this property. And I was going to make it into a community garden. I started learning about the term nutrition desert, food desert, all those things. And I felt like it would be a good way to pay homage to my family. Although the house wasn't there anymore, the land was, and it was owned by the city. And those plans fell through, and I'll tell that story another day on why those plans fell through. I wasn't able to get that. But I think that was probably the first real, right, like you have power to change the conditions, not only for yourself, but for those who are in community with you.
And I love that you actually were hands-on about it. Because I think a lot of times people will think up of ideas, but they don't actually put the work to actually figuring out how to do it. And sometimes if you talk to the right people, you can get to exactly where you want to be.
Absolutely. I don't think anything is out of reach.
Yeah.
Like no solution, no idea, no project. It's all tangible and doable.
Right.
And I hope that what I've been able to do up to this point in my life is an example of that. You know what I'm saying? I hear good solutions every day. It's just about actually implementing them. And I think that just starts with the belief that you can do it.
Correct.
You know?
I love that we also have the connection point of wanting to be lawyers and then pivoting.
Yeah, you want to be a lawyer too?
I wanted to be a juvenile justice lawyer.
Okay.
But growing up, my grandmother actually had a community garden where 90% of it went to other people.
That's dope.
And I share her name as my middle name. And I always wanted to make sure that whatever I did was in service to people because that's how my family raised me, my grandparents and my mother. So I was like, how can I do that but still love what I do to wake up every day?
Yeah.
And that's why I chose radio, because I love music, and that's been a huge part of my family's history. But then also being able to inspire and platform incredible people like yourself to, you know, show that there are people who look just like us making a difference. So I'm super excited to just get to know your story and for everyone else to get to know your story, because someone could be watching this right now and be inspired by something that you say.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited. So first of all, let's talk about Umoja.
Okay.
For some people who don't know the lineage of that word or may not know like Kwanzaa at all, could you explain
Absolutely.
Umoja?
Absolutely. So the word Umoja, it's a Swahili word, and it means unity. It is also the first principle of Kwanzaa. And with Kwanzaa, there's 7 principles, all kind of designed to uplift the black community here in the United States. It started, I want to say, in California, but it's kind of spiraled off into somewhat of a global celebration of our heritage, of our culture. And when I selected the name Umoja, I started Umoja Debate Team at the time. The idea for it started in a notebook while I still was in college in my senior year at Western Michigan University. The pandemic, I graduated dead smack during the pandemic, 2020.
Oh, wow.
And my goal up to that point was to go right into law school after undergrad, but I did not want to do law school virtually.
Yeah.
And all classes were virtual at that time. And so as I was waiting for them to lift the virtual hold on school so we can go back in person, I hadn't taken the LSAT or anything. I was just waiting.
Yeah.
And I was reflecting, as I think many of us were doing during the pandemic. We got a lot of time to think. I was like, how did I get to this point? I want to say I was never really shy, but I was really chill and laid back. I'm still pretty chill and laid back. But I resorted back to my debate class, and that kind of gave me the boost to do what I was doing at the time. I was the president of the Black Student Union.
Come on now.
I had led soldiers in the military. I had leadership positions. I'm like, how did this somewhat chill, laid back kid get to this point? And debate was the origin of it. So I was like, what if I did that same thing that was given to me to more Detroit youth, but starting earlier? I started when I was in 10th grade with debate. Umoja debate team started with 6th graders. So I started kind of brainstorming what this debate team would look like. I wanted to be very intentional with the name. I wanted it to be like a call sign to our people. And what's blacker than Umoja?
Right.
Right. And I was also inspired by Nipsey Hussle at the time to his brand, The Marathon Continues. I was just studying brands and studying names, and they meant something. You know, whether you knew what the company or organization was, The Marathon Continues, it sends a call sign to you.
Yeah.
And I wanted Umoja to do the same exact thing. And as I was brainstorming Umoja, I was going to call it Unity Debate League. I feel like unity is what our community needs. It's like, nah, Unity Debate League is kind of corny. And I was like, wow, what about Umoja? And it also is a good way to make people curious about what the word actually means. So people actually research it after hearing Umoja Debate League. What does this word mean? And then it kind of sends them down a spiral of their own education of it. But that's kind of like the origin of how Umoja, the name, came about, and all the programming and the strategy and everything else rolled out right after.
I love that you made sure to still be a student, because I think a lot of times people don't remember that to be a leader, you have to be a student. You can't teach someone what you don't know.
Yeah.
So the fact that you studied these brands, you identified, you know, their structure, their mission, and was like, okay, I like what they're doing. Now, how can I make it my own so that people can feel the same way that I feel about, like you said, Nipsey Hussle? Because once you hear about that marathon, you're immediately thinking Blue. You're immediately thinking Nipsey.
Yep.
So I love that you were able to use what you learned and then create it for Umoja. Now, I understand why debate is necessary, because I loved my debate class in high school. I think that's probably why so many of my family members thought I was going to be a good lawyer.
Yeah.
But why was it debate that you chose? And what do you think debate can do for people who are not even thinking about law as a field of study, but like, what do you think debate does for the youth that you partner with?
Yeah, so I think debate is a vehicle. And the vehicle is a tool pretty much for disguised learning, is what I call it. So through debate, in order to be a good debater, you're going to be sharpening your critical thinking skills. To be a good debater, you must be quick on your feet. You must understand the topic in a very, very deep way. So critical thinking is increased through debate. That's been proven, you know, through studies. Your confidence as a speaker has been proven. Debate does that for you. Your conflict resolution skills is amplified through debate, as well as the empathy that we need within our communities as well. So for me, debate, again, was a vehicle to get young people to all those different traits. And all these traits, more importantly, they're transferable. These are all transferable skills. Once you're a critical thinker in the debate realm, you apply that to other areas of your life as well.
Right.
Once you're confident enough to speak on a stage in front of a crowd or audience of your peers and parents and attorneys and everyone else, you can do that anywhere. You can advocate for yourself and for your peers. Once you understand how to resolve a conflict, a debate is a disagreement. There's two sides who disagree on something. Once you know how to resolve that conflict in a way that is intellectual, when you go out into the neighborhood, some arguments won't even be heightened that way because you have conflict resolution skills that you learn through the debate practice.
Right.
And the most important one, well, they're all important. I think they're all equally important, so I won't say the most important, but a big one is empathy. We make, in our debate league, we make our students debate both sides of an argument. And so whether they agree with the topic or not, they have to understand that side of it.
Yeah.
That translates to what we see happening in our neighborhoods and our country overall, right? Like, people are on so far different sides of everything, but debate teaches you to kind of understand, maybe not agree with what the other side is saying, but maybe understand their perspective a little bit more than what you might have without debate. So I think it's robust, and the benefits that it provides a young mind. I'm not just saying because I teach debate. I don't know of another activity that does all these things in a way that is disguised, because everything I just named young person, they might not tell you that they're gaining these skills,
Right.
but they enjoy arguing. Kids like to argue.
Correct.
And through that, we hook them in with the fact they like to argue. But now that you're in it and you want to argue, in order to be good at it, you're going to gain these skills along the way. For me, I didn't realize debate had that effect on my life until I was in college.
Right.
As I was reflecting in 2020, I took the debate class when I was a sophomore. That was like 2013, 2014 or something like that. Right? So I think the best education sometimes is the one that you don't even know that you're getting.
I do agree, because I feel like a lot of times when kids don't realize that they are in that teaching environment, they are able to absorb it a lot more. And I love that you hit on empathy, because I do believe that in debate, the point is to understand both sides. You can only argue your case so much, and you're really, really a good debater or a good litigator if you are able to see their perspective and then flip it.
Yep.
And be able to do that on a drop of a dime, because you're not going to know what they're saying ahead of time, but knowing your comprehension of what you've read and what you've researched, but then being able to flip it and be like, actually, well, thank you for that perspective, but here's my rebuttal.
Exactly.
I love that idea.
And that's the critical thinking aspect of it too, right? Like, you have to think deeper about it.
Yeah.
Like, you prepared these things, and teach preparation too. That's another important thing I think that translates. You have to be prepared to be a good debater. But yeah, you said it. You get it.
It's incredible what you are doing now. I know that you can't technically speak for the kids that you have worked with, but what has been the best part about working with the kids? Is it them coming back and saying, oh my God, I didn't realize that you were teaching me these things? Or I don't want to speak for you, but what has been that moment that has been really rewarding with having Umoja?
So it's been some of that, but it's also transformation. I believe that confidence is so critical to in everything, because if you're not confident about what you're doing or who you are, what you're saying, you can have the best message in the world. If you're not confident in relaying it, then it'll kind of fall on deaf ears to some extent.
Right.
I've seen students in real time gain confidence. I've seen young people who are stuttering and shaking and scared to death to get up and speak in front of a crowd. And in 2 months, you would think they're on the pathway to being a lawyer. How strong, how poised they were, how articulate. Their posture is different. To see that transformation in a couple of months, and I know Umoja isn't the only factor in that, right? They have families, they have coaches, they have educators, and everyone else who play a role of our ecosystem. But I will say, I think Umoja played a good role in that. But to see that transformation of confidence instantly, and this is just one instance, right? But Umoja has a little bit over 400 kids in our program right now.
Amazing. 22
schools. And that story can be told about pretty much any of our students. We take them all too. So there's no criteria to be a part of Umoja. There's no got to be a 3.0 student. No. Whether you're shy, whether you're a straight A student or not, whether you want to be a lawyer, whatever the case might be, if you want to be involved with debate, we have a space for you at Umoja, in particular at the school that we partner with. So we take them all, and so we've seen a little bit of everything.
I love that. I love that you are able to meet them where they are. Yeah. And then they can elevate on their own time. I think that's also the beauty of why I love theater and working with kids in theater, because I can relate to that, watching these kids come in not knowing how to read a script, not knowing how to memorize, and feeling really scared to perform in front of people. But then 2, 3, 4 weeks later, you're like, hold on now, Taraji, is that you? What's happening right now? Yeah. So I love that you are so hands-on on your kids, and clearly just from the way that you're smiling about them, you clearly are passionate about what you do. So now, because apparently you're a jack of all things, now let's switch over to Howard Family Bookstore. As a book lover, I got so excited when someone told me about the grand opening. So walk me through why this bookstore was so important for you to take on. Yeah,
and I'm actually go back a little bit further first. I believe that youth development and community development have to go hand in hand. They literally have to. As you develop a young mind, you must develop the community that they live in as well. And first, Umoja Village was the first development. I grew up on Puritan. I believe you start right in your backyard. Affect what you can affect, change what you can change. Act locally but think globally. Yeah, it's kind of like the way I approach things.
Come on, Jim.
So the first, so the first part of this community development piece was these 3 lots that we purchased on Puritan and Stansbury. Now, I told the story a little bit earlier about how I wanted to buy the lot that my family had to turn into a garden. That fell through. A couple years later, it became available. We can buy 3 lots, a couple blocks down the street from where I grew up on Pearson and Stansbury. And we transformed the lots. It was blighted. It was trash. People were using it as a dump site. And we made it into what's now called Umoja Village. It features a community garden. It features a stage. It features a community tool shed. Features art that is made by our students. Summer camps are held there. Yoga sessions are held there. Art in the park, gardening sessions, Earth Day cleanups, the whole nine is hosted right there at Umoja Village. So that was the first community development piece. That's on Pearson and Stansbury. 1 block, and that we bought that land in 2022. 2024 comes around, 1 block over, 13803 Puritan. 13803 Puritan becomes available for purchase. That is the home of what's now called the Howard Family Bookstore. So the village, our garden, is 1 block away from the bookstore.
Wow.
And even kind of going back a little bit further, I guess, when I first came home from college back in 2021, I graduated 2020, December 2020, I came back home 2021, and I wanted to develop Puritan. So I wrote down Puritan, write down the address for all the abandoned buildings that I saw. 13803 Puritan was one of the abandoned buildings that I wrote down. And so I called all these people that I seen in the abandoned buildings. I sent letters to them and everything. I figured out who the owners were. I didn't get a response. Something told me just to go back to that old notebook. I write down everything. So I went back to the old notebook, and I just Googled the addresses again, see what was up. That building was for sale February of 2024. So I called my realtor, and I said, hey, let's take a look at it. This building was vacant for over 2 decades. My entire life, it has been vacant. I used to walk past the building on my way to John R. King Middle School, walk home, passing it again. My best friend lived on this same exact block. And so I'm like, let me just take a look at it. And when I seen it, it was in rough condition. It was an abandoned building for over 20 years. But I was thinking to myself initially, a coffee shop. I think that those third spaces are, essential to bringing people together. And where else will you meet your neighbors in that community? There's nothing there. Right. Maybe like the churches and stuff, but that's not everybody's jazz. That's not what they do. They want to do other things or meet in other places. As I walked through it, I said, okay, coffee shop. Then I went home, and I was just thinking about being a solution. Our literacy rates here in Detroit needs some work. Not just amongst young people, but adults too. Everyone, yeah. Everyone, we can improve our literacy rates. And that's not the idea for, it's going to be a bookstore and coffee shop. And it's right there next to Umoja Village. And it's going to be like a whole community hub that we're going to create. And so I made an offer. They declined the offer. It was tug and pull for some time. We agreed on a number. And then June of 2024, we closed on 13803 Puritan. And then we got busy. We got to work with the construction of it in August of 2024. And we opened up April 25th, 2026.
How does it feel to because I don't even think that's manifestation. Like, you wrote it down and you just made it happen. Like, how do you feel now walking through those doors every day being like, whoa, this used to be like a building that I walked by that didn't even think could look and provide this for people? Like, how does it feel to walk through those doors now?
It feels amazing. It is. So I can't even put it into words. Again, I walked through that building many times when it was lifeless. Yeah. Literally, when I say that building, it wasn't no plumbing, wasn't no electrical, wasn't any HVAC. I think you've seen some of the photos of what it was before. It was an abandoned building. And to see kids laughing and reading and elderly people coming in and buying coffee and telling us how proud they are of this being in their neighborhood now, I'm a happy man.
I feel like I'm this cheesy person that always thinks that if the walls could talk. I feel like that building was just waiting for joy to be back in it. Yeah. Because like you said, I saw the pictures. I personally would have never imagined what it looks like now. So just the fact that you said that there's laughter, there's light. Yeah. And I love that you've created, you're building your block back. Like, you're bringing this joy and you are cultivating something that people have been craving for. I think third spaces are so needed, especially what's been happening in the news with our youth, where they're just going wherever they can go. Now they can literally walk down the street in their neighborhood and there's somewhere that they can go, both Umoja Village and then, hey, let's walk down and get a book real quick, guys.
Yeah, and the kids have really embraced it. I think one piece that I left out, within a 1.5 mile radius of the bookstore, there are 6 K through 12 schools.
Wow.
So there are 6 schools just within a 1.5 miles. So that means a lot of kids are interacting with that space.
Right.
Whether they're walking past it, whether they're driving past it, whatever that might look like, they're interacting with that space. And any given day after school, you'll catch a bunch of kids in there doing their homework, talking to my auntie who is the store manager, messing around with the globe that we have there on the computer that we have available for them. So they've embraced the space, and I truly believe they feel like they have ownership of it.
Yeah.
Like they say words like my bookstore, like my neighborhood bookstore. This is our you going to the bookstore. I think they have a sense of ownership of it, which is important.
I think that's a big deal. I think that's a lot of parts missing for a lot of business owners, I'll say, is that they don't allow the community to feel like they were with you. Yeah. And I think that you've done a really great job of walking people through and then also keeping it within where they can get to, because it's also about access. Yeah. A lot of these kids can't just walk to a Barnes and Nobles or something because it's too far and they don't have the transportation, but now they can literally access it by just walking on their 2 feet.
Yep. And they see someone that comes from where they come from,
right,
that looks like them, that has done it. I believe that people in general, but in particular young people, engage with things they have close proximity to. Mm-hmm. If there's close proximity to basketball courts, you're going to produce a lot of hoopers.
Right.
If there's proximity to theaters and acting class, you're going to produce, actors and actresses. Mm-hmm. If there's bookstores that are in close proximity, then you're going to produce people who have a joy of reading with the right programs too. You can't just put a building in. You have to actually be able to reel them in with something that is tangible and makes sense for them.
Right.
But ultimately, if you put it there and you make it accessible for people, they'll engage with it.
I love that. And clearly the city loves it too, because you've added another title to your repertoire. But with 2026 being such a, I'll just say, I think this word is not enough, but this incredible renaissance for you, where you're essentially making everything that you envisioned into reality. What do you want to see from this hub that you've created? Because like you said, it's like a 6-block radius or something.
Yeah. So
what would you like to see done, whether it's you creating it or whether there's someone else listening who might be like, oh wait, I actually have that idea. Like, what would you love to see happen as you're building back the block essentially?
Yeah. So when I bought the building, I surveyed the community.
Mm-hmm. Smart.
I asked people, I said, okay, first, we plan on putting a bookstore here. What genre of books would you like to see? Mm-hmm. Is it autobiographies? Is it poetry? Is it children's books? You tell us which one to see, and we're going to put that as our inventory. The other questions I asked on that survey, though, were what is missing from this community? What businesses are missing? What organizations are missing? And the top 3 responses that we got were a food option,
okay,
childcare,
smart,
and a health clinic. Those were the 3 things that people told us that they want in that community. So that's the answer. I think that when community speaks, we listen.
Woo!
And that's some of those things are in the pipeline. I won't say too much, but some of those things that I mentioned are in the pipeline to be on Puritan sooner than later.
I love that. And I love that you said it plainly, that if the community is telling you exactly what they want, why not work to build that? Yeah. That's when people start realizing, wait, no, that's my bookstore. No, that's my clinic. That's where I take my kids to the daycare. Like, they feel ownership, like you said, because you listened to them and they felt heard and they felt seen. And I think that what you have created is incredible. It would be remiss of me to not talk about my fave, my girl, Dr. Lyndsay, who has a book in Howard Family Bookstore. Was that also a huge draw for you to bring local authors and people who looked like us into the bookstore too?
Yeah. That was really important. Representation is extremely important, period. That's a full sentence right there. And the fact that, again, young people are going to be coming into this space. This is a bookstore. It's a business. So it has to be sustainable. It has to make money. It has to generate revenue. But that's just one of the many goals. And that goal isn't even as high on the totem pole as some of the other things, like inspiration. Yeah. Right? I want this to be a hub that plants seeds. And future authors, people pick up these books, say, oh, I can do this too. And so the local author component was huge in that aspect. So many people who books we carry now inside our bookstore, they say, wow, I couldn't get inside this store, but man, I'm happy that this is here. And again, young people come in, they see, I don't know, when I was younger, I would think that, you hear New York Times and you think, like, a young mind might think that authors come from New York, right? Just that correlation, but no, they come from Detroit too.
Yeah.
They might be your neighbors. They might be one of your teachers. They might be your doctor who's writing these books. And I think it just opens up their mind to be able to see themselves in it. So the local author piece has been really, really important for us. And it's been one of the best-selling, categories or genres that we have inside of the bookstore. So yeah, super, super important for us to include them. And it's group economics, right? As we win, it's enough for everybody to eat. We all can win. And by sharing this platform, we do a consignment model. We all can win and no one takes losses that way.
I just love this community-centric mindset that you have, and clearly the community is loving it too. So with everything that you've done, from Umoja Village to the Debate League to now Howard Family Bookstore and all of the amazing other entities that you will create in the near future, it would be remiss of me to not celebrate someone who you feel is making incredible strides. That was the purpose of creating this series. A lot of people don't get the platform or the recognition, and they're doing amazing things for our kids, our family, for the community. And I wanted to make a platform that for those people, not just the politicians or the big names that we see in the news every day. So is there anyone who you feel as though is really pushing the culture forward or is giving back to the community in a major way that you would want to see here on the platform?
Ooh, it's so many people.
You can name them all. Go ahead.
Keith Butler.
Okay.
Keith Butler comes to mind. He has Detroit Boys Mentoring. Keith is amazing. Zeek from New Era Detroit. I think you should interview Dr. Lyndsay Archer.
And that's my girl. I'm waiting for her to get off of her busy schedule.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll get that sooner rather than later.
You have Miss Harlan. She's over the Michigan Liberian Association. They do a lot of good work. I'll stop there because I don't want to keep going and leave people out and people be mad at me and everything. But, oh, wait, one more. Daniel Washington.
Okay.
Daniel Washington, he's the executive director of Northwest Goldberg Cares. And this brother is building parks in the neighborhood that he grew up in.
Wow.
And he's renovating homes in the neighborhood he grew up in. Yeah, he's doing his thing with it. But I could send you a list. There's so many people.
But see,
There's
just
so
these
many.
5 names are the reason why I created this platform, because I mean, I know Dr. Lyndsay Archer, but I'm not privy to these other men and women. So it's just like, this is why I created this platform, so that people just like yourself and these men and women are able to have that moment to be like, wow, I have that recognition. The city sees me. The people see me. Even though they probably already get that love, but I want it to be on an amplified space, and I want to give my love to them as well. So first and foremost, thank you so much for being here. I think, again, I've said it like 8,000 times during this episode. I am super, super proud of what you have done.
I appreciate you.
So many people have literally sent your name to me being like, if you don't get this man on this show, you're doing it wrong. And I said, okay, period. As you said, I'm going to listen to the community, because when the community speaks, we listen.
Yeah.
So thank you for being here. Let everyone know where they can find you and your businesses.
Absolutely. So you can find me on Instagram at jerjuan.howard, JERJUAN.howard. HOWARD. You can find Umoja Debate League on Instagram, Facebook. Our website is www.umojadebate, UMOJADEBATE.org. Umoja Debate League is our hashtag on, well, not hashtag, but our tag on Instagram and everything else. And then last but not least, the Howard Family Bookstore on Instagram and Facebook as well. I appreciate you.
Thank you for being here, and I will catch y'all for the next episode of Detroit Culture Shifters.